I read the Throne of Glass series. If you're looking for a spoiler-free review, I also have one of those, but this is not the one, so be aware. Before reading this, I mostly heard people speak of this as a fantasy with a romantic subplot, but I don't really agree with that. I think this is a romantasy with a lot of focus on the romance. I have two primary reasons for thinking this, and the first one is that there is romance from the very first book to the very last one. I don't mind a good romance or romantasy, but I found that it took a lot of focus from the story and it almost felt unnecessary at times. The only book I didn't feel that way about was Heir of Fire, because there is a slow build-up for the relationships in this one, and the relationships in this one is also very important for how the story progresses. The second reason being that every single character that gets a POV also gets a romance. Sometimes these romances were completely unnecessary for the story. For example, in Empire of Storm, I would have found Adrian's story to be much more interesting if it was more about his relationship with his father than him getting a relationship and gaining interest in Lysandra. And it almost seemed like it was just a way to give these characters a story. Also, in Tower of Dawn, neither Nesryn or Carol needed to find another love to realize they weren't right for each other. That's even though I do like Carol and Irene's story. Because of this, it at some point started to feel like, to me, that I was just reading the same story over and over again. That meant that when I reached the last couple of books, I wasn't that motivated to continue. Also, I found that too many coincidental things happened. I find it a bit annoying if every character has some kind of connection to another character. You know, there is only one other shapeshifter in this story, and of course it's Lysandra's uncle. Also, Aelin's plans worked way too well. I read Six of Crows earlier this year. Even Cass Breaker, who is like the master of plans, his plans doesn't succeed all the time. Wherever he went in this book, Aelin had always had a plan, some plan that set things into motion, and to me it just seemed like an easy escape for the author to just put it on her. I went back and downgraded some of my ratings. I often change my rating when I had time to think about it, but I think my favorite from the series was probably, I think it was Heir of Fire, Kingdom of Ash, then either Assassin's Blade or Tower of Dawn, Empire of Storms, Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight. But this means that the series ended with an average of 3.66 stars, which is not a bad rating. And just because I found it lagging in some places, it doesn't mean that I wasn't enjoying it or it wasn't entertaining to read. I do have some kind of system for how I rate my books. The series end up between fine and good. And I would recommend it to some. So if you're into romances and you would like to expand into romantasy, this could be a potential series to get started on.